In the darkest years of World War II, when the world was split between hope and despair, the skies above Europe became a battlefield unlike any seen before. Great fleets of bombers crossed hostile skies daily, carrying with them the weight of an entire nation's strategy. They were the steel giants, flying fortresses filled with young men, barely in their 20s, tasked with raining destruction on enemy factories, railways, and cities. But these bombers faced an enemy that was swift, agile, and deadly. The German Luftwaffe, hardened by years of combat, tore into them with Messerschmitts and Focke-Wulfs. Wave after wave of American crews never came back. For every mission completed, the cost in lives was staggering. Inside those bomber cockpits, you could feel the tension, the rattle of flak against the fuselage, the sight of comrades spiraling down in flames, the helpless feeling of being hunted in the wide open sky. The Allies needed a savior, not just a fighter, but a guardian angel of steel and fire. Something that could fly far, fight hard, and endure punishment like nothing else. And so, into this storm, came an aircraft that no one expected would change the war: the Republic P-47 Thunderbolt. To many, it looked more like a barrel with wings than a fighter. It was huge, bulky, and loud. It didn't glide, it thundered. Even American pilots at first weren't sure what to make of it. Some laughed, calling it the Jug, short for juggernaut, but also for its fat milk jug shape. To German pilots, it was a flying milk bottle, a pregnant cow. But in war, looks mean nothing. What matters is survival. What matters is power. And the Jug had both in terrifying measure. At its heart roared the Pratt & Whitney R2800 Double Wasp, an 18-cylinder radial engine so massive it seemed almost too big for a single-engine fighter. When that engine came to life, it didn't just start. It growled. It shook the ground. It announced its presence like thunder before a storm. This was raw power harnessed into a machine of war. The cockpit sat high, giving pilots a commanding view of the battlefield. Its fuselage was built thick, its wings broad, its frame rugged, and strapped beneath those wings, the Jug could carry bombs, rockets, and fuel tanks that turned it from a fighter into a flying arsenal. Most of all, it was armed with 8 50-caliber Browning machine guns, 4 in each wing. A single burst could rip through enemy fighters, slice open armored vehicles, or shred convoys on the ground. Pilots said when all 8 guns fired at once, it felt like the plane itself was shaking with fury. A beast unleashing all its strength. At first, the Luftwaffe mocked it. They thought it would be easy prey. Sleek Messerschmitt Bf-109s and agile Focke-Wulf FW-190s circled the skies like hawks, waiting to dive on this heavy American machine. But they were in for a shock, because the Jug had a secret. It wasn't built to dance, it was built to strike. In a dive, the P-47 was unmatched. It could plummet like a stone, its heavy weight turning into blistering speed, faster than almost anything else in the sky. German pilots who dared follow often found themselves in pieces, their wings torn off by the force of the chase. And when the Jug was hit, it kept going. Stories spread quickly among American squadrons. Jugs returning home with wings riddled with holes, fuselages torn open, engines coughing black smoke, but still landing safely. Some pilots even came back with entire cylinders blown off their engines. The plane that looked like a cow was, in truth, a tank. One pilot said, "The Mustang could win a race, the Spitfire could win a duel, but the Thunderbolt would bring you home alive." Soon, the mission that defined the Jug began: bomber escort. Before its arrival, bomber crews flew through hell. Missions deep into Germany were brutal. Flak explosions, filled the sky with black clouds of death. From above and below, German fighters attacked relentlessly. Whole bomber groups were cut apart, men burning alive in the skies, parachutes failing to open in time. But when the Jug joined the fight, the tide shifted. Picture the scene. A formation of B-17 flying fortresses crosses into German airspace. Luftwaffe fighters dive to tear them apart. And then, diving out of the sun, come the Thunderbolts. Their 8 guns blaze, tearing into enemy formations. Suddenly, the hunters become the hunted. German pilots who once sneered at the fat American plane now found themselves outgunned, outdived, and outlasted. Bomber crews began to breathe easier. They called the Jug their guardian angel. Whenever they saw those big, rugged fighters circling above, their chances of making it home alive soared. But the Jug was not just a shield. It became a hammer. By 1944, its role expanded to ground attack, and here it earned a reputation that terrified German soldiers. Armed with bombs, rockets, and machine guns, Thunderbolts swept low over highways, rail lines, and armored convoys. Imagine being a German soldier in retreat, trucks loaded with supplies, tanks grinding forward, when suddenly the roar of engines fills the sky. The Jug dives, guns blazing, rockets screaming down like arrows of fire. Explosions rip through the column. Metal twists, flames rise, and men scatter in panic. Survivors remembered it vividly, how a single squadron of Thunderbolts could erase an entire day's movement in minutes. One German officer admitted later, "When the Thunderbolt appeared, we could no longer move by day. The roads were death." Even in the Pacific, where it was less common, the Jug proved its worth. Over the jungles of Burma and the islands of the Philippines, it rained destruction on Japanese positions. Its rugged design thrived in harsh conditions. No matter where it fought, the Thunderbolt carried its legend with it. By war's end, the numbers told the story. The P-47 destroyed over 86,000 railway cars, 9,000 locomotives, 6,000 armored vehicles, and thousands of enemy aircraft. In sheer destruction, no other fighter came close. And yet, history almost forgot it. The P-51 Mustang became the poster child of American air power, sleek, beautiful, and with the range to strike deep into enemy territory. It photographed well, it looked heroic, and so it became the symbol. But ask the men who flew, and their answer was different. The Mustang was elegant, yes, but the Jug was a friend that never abandoned you. Pilots loved it not for beauty, but for survival. The Luftwaffe never laughed again. The pregnant cow had become a monster in the sky, a symbol of American might that could not be broken. When peace came in 1945, the Jug's story did not end. It served in Korea. It flew in smaller wars across the globe. Many nations adopted it, trusting in its durability and strength. Even in the age of jets, the Jug still had a place. But its greatest legacy was not in the machines destroyed or the battles won. It was in the lives it saved. Thousands of pilots returned home to their families because the Thunderbolt carried them back through fire and steel. One veteran put it best. "She wasn't pretty, but she was the best damn friend I ever had in the sky." And that is the story of the Jug. Laughed at in its birth, feared in its prime, and remembered forever as the thunder that rolled across the skies of war.